What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Challenge Accepted. I'm Thomas, and I'm here with Frank.
Hey, everybody.
And we are doing a quick reacts for Secret Invasion Episode 4, Beloved.
Yeah, boy, that title hurts later on
Doesn't
when
it
you realize where it comes from.
Just dig in the knife, Priscilla, why don't you?
Yeah. This episode's way too freaking short. I mean, I was just like, no way, when it ended. And then, come to find out it was only like 30 minutes. So it was just too short, in my opinion.
Right, like I was prepared for it because the director said not all the episode lengths are going to be as long as the first two.
Yeah.
But to go from almost an hour to 30 minutes feels so weird.
And on top of that, this one's fast paced. So you feel like it's going by even faster. So it was like, damn, there's so much going on in this 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, for me, it felt very slow and intimate, and then all of a sudden it like goes breakneck speed. And
True.
I didn't have a problem with the pacing. I saw that was a criticism online, but let's just break this episode down.
I agree with you real quick. The pacing, I think, is great for the show. I have zero complaints on that, but I have seen that, and it's
right. Yeah,
it's fine.
I'm right there with you.
With this episode is a really good example of it. I'm on the edge of my seat with the dialogue, and I like shows like that. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay,
Doing
you
the
ready?
rundown, guys. Here we go, and starting. Gaia is in the road. We saw her from last time she got shot. She is still shot. And then she heals from the Super Skull Extremis. And then we see that she injected herself with it. And I just want to throw this out there. I called it last week, so, brag. Then we go back to Paris in 2012. Fury meets with his wife, Priscilla. And they are married at this time. You could tell they're real flirty and everything like that. This is after the Avengers fight in New York. So this is when, he's got a little bit of brag in him.
Oh my god! Anytime I see 2012 in a Marvel thing, I'm like, yay!
Yay! Then later on, we see Kirk Dave. Priscilla meets with Rhodey in a church. Confirmed, Rhodey is not only a Skrull, but also working with Gravik. And so is Priscilla. She is now told to kill Fury. And Rhodey's like, either you kill Fury or I kill you both. Later on, Gaia and Talos reunite, but they talk about how they have opposing viewpoints. And basically, Talos is like, we got to earn our spot here on Earth and be a member of this planet. Gaia's like, that's just not going to work.
Definitely want to hit on that.
Yes,
after.
It's going to be important going forward. Yep, Fury not wearing his wedding ring when he comes home. Obviously, there's going to be some tension. They discuss things out. Yeah, I know you're lying to me. I love you. Really great discussion. They both shoot at each other, but purposely miss. And it's just so cute, and I hope they really make it work. And I want to discuss that as well. Fury meets with Rhodey later on, plants a tracker in him. And then later on, we see that Gravik's group is attacking the president's convoy. The president is trapped while they're trying to save him. Talos is killed by Gravik, that son of a bitch. And Fury has to leave Talos behind to finish saving the president. But it's important to note that the Secret Servicemen saw Talos saving the president. I think it's going to be important and done.
Wow, you got 10 seconds to spare on my end, so you nailed it. Yeah, but we kind of talked about it. There's a lot of deep things that went on this episode, but not a lot when you really look at what.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like normally I have a full page of notes, and I'm like, how am I going to squeeze this line in so I don't have to use a second page? I have enough space. I have 30% space left on this page. And yeah, again, let's take it from that conversation because I think it fully sets up the relationship between Priscilla and Fury. And that conversation, we again, 2012, just I know we have to leave the Infinity Saga behind, but
it's hard.
Do we?
Right?
Yeah. I loved it so much. So every time I see that, I'm like, hell yeah. That poem that they set up is beautiful. All I wanted is to be loved. Or be beloved or something beloved, like that. Yeah. It's just beautiful. I think it sets the tone for their relationship and also how hard the betrayal hits later on when we find out that Priscilla's working for Gravik. Yes. So, man, oh gosh,
this is
so
a really great episode for their relationship. And the final part of their conversation, she asks, would you love me if I had been my true self and not changing into human form? Right. And he stops and doesn't answer it. Then he walks away, turns back and says, I guess we'll never find out. My question for you is, do you think he would have loved her if she was actually still in Skrull form?
I mean, I think he had to love her, not even despite, right? Because I think he does love who she is and who she's become. And the three things that she says when she took over the body was, you know, I have these three promises, and he was like, I think you held to all of them except for the last one, obviously. But then she did. But it's beautiful, and I think he does have love for her. Would he have been attracted to her and all of that, like sexual love, maybe? I don't know, but
Right.
I think he does love the person she is.
I think it represents kind of a grander thing. We see this a lot with people who maybe help those less fortunate or in the minority or something like that, where it's a difference between I respect you. Like we had actually, this is a very good example with the deaf college. Actually, has this problem often. We respect you as a person, and so I'm going to represent you as an equal. Or I have pity on you, and I'm all with good intention. It's just really how your mindset is going. I have pity
Totally.
on you, and so I want to elevate you up almost from a lesser to an equal. And so I'm wondering if she's kind of asking him that question, like, do you see me as an equal right now, or do you see me as a lost alien that needs help, and because I look good at this moment? I kind of put that image on this conversation.
I like that perspective. I didn't think about it that way. You know, being somebody who's in like the disability community, I didn't take that take, but I can
Right.
see where you're coming from. But also being married, you know, would you love me no matter what? Like whatever I look like, whatever
Yeah.
happened to me, would you love me? And I took it like that, and just a cold line, man. Samuel walking out. I guess we'll never know. Right out the door. I mean, so
Yeah,
cold. Love it.
I think that's probably the correct answer. I just was wondering because I wondered that in general with Fury is we know that the scrolls have been super advantageous to him, and I wonder how much is it like it's an advantage, so I'm keeping you guys around. I feel bad for you guys being alone, so I'm going to help you there. And is it that he actually sees them on equals? And I think with Talos later on, we're confirming that like no, the way he's leaving Talos behind, the way he looks back at him is like confirming like that's my brother I'm putting on the ground right there. You know,
Yeah. Do we want to jump right into that part?
let's
Because
do
I
it.
have
Yeah,
some
let's jump around.
feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I watched it last night, you know, one to enjoy, one to take notes.
yeah,
And when I was taking notes, the second time I watched it, I was like, did he really just have to drive off? Like, it looked like he could have grabbed him. You know, maybe it would have been too tense in that situation. And we're talking about the president here. So,
right.
yes, that is priority number one. But it just felt a little bit messed up to me the second time I watched it. I'm like,
It's definitely messed up, but I think it's what Talos would have done. I think Talos knows that
think?
the most important thing is to make sure that he's not killed by Skrull hands right now, and you are saving my people if you make sure that president's still alive. So I think,
True.
but that might be elevated thought beyond the situation, like where he's just like my brother here, you know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't. I just was sorry, just real quick. Ben Mendelsohn being out of the show pisses me off so much. I don't want him to be gone.
Facts, facts. Like I was like, wait, what? I mean, I'm like, nobody else needs to die for Fury to be motivated. Please, like, we don't
Exactly.
need that. I don't need him to die. I didn't even need the fake out with Gaia. Like,
Right.
I wish it was because the rumor online is going around that she was either a Super Scroll, like you predicted, or she was Abigail Brand. And I was really, really hoping she was
Yeah.
Abigail Brand. Like they, for whatever reason, she did get killed off, and then Abigail Brand comes down, and then there's a scene later on that we've seen in a trailer that we haven't seen yet in the show, where it's Emilia Clarke and I want to say Priscilla. I'm not sure the actress's name. They're going to back to back. Oh, I love when they go back to back. But when people go back to back and they're like shooting in this room, and I was like, dang, I really do hope that's Abigail Brand because that's such a
Yeah.
longer story that Clarke could play on. You know, she could be in the Marvels. She could be in other future world-saving events because she's in that team.
She's basically Fury's equal at that point. Charlie from Emergency Awesome calls it too. He thinks she's going to be Abigail after this. Like this is
Yeah, or
creating
she
the
comes
Abigail.
down after
Or
it's
like
done.
no, like after this, Fury's like I trust you to take care of like because like Talos would have had that job if it wasn't
Right.
for like Fury's currently doing both jobs, right? And so he's like I'm going to take care of home, you take care of space, and puts Abigail in charge of it. Like I think that'll be like Abigail doesn't exist yet, but it will be eventually her kind of thing.
Oh man, I hope so. Because like more Emilia Clarke in it would be fantastic.
Yes.
Speaking of that, the conversation between Gaia and Talos, like I loved it. I loved them getting screen time together because they're so good. They're
They
both
are so
such
good, yeah.
good actors, and I love the back and forth. But the one thing I could say about that conversation as they're sitting there in the park was like, really? That's Talos's plan after 30 years? It kind of was my only real criticism of this episode, where I'm like, I get it. Like, yeah, he wants amnesty, and maybe that opens a door for Genosha down the line for the
Yeah.
X-Men, but I'm like, that's kind of a weak plan. Like, you had 30 years and you're like, hopefully the president likes us and gives us some land. It's like, I don't know. That was the only thing I
Yeah.
wasn't super stoked on.
I
What'd you
got
think
some
about it?
real like generational vibes from it to where this feels like a conversation between a parent and a child, both wanted the same things, and the parent knowing that I have to protect my child above all things else. So the easiest move there is to just like we're currently in safety, and the child's like
Right.
let's break things and break rules and make something new. We see it today, right? Like if you're a parent and a child and you guys both want something politically, whatever, the parents like this is how we do it. We vote and we play it safe, and you make sure you get the right guy in power.
Yeah, we
Well,
do what we've always done.
exactly, and the children we're seeing with the younger generation like let's take it to the street. Give me my sign. I'm ready to go. And it's like I
Exactly.
think we kind of had that here, right? It's like Talos is like we got to play it safe, and she's like I got my gun. I've got my firepower. Let's go. You know.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Again, did not see it that way, but I love it. I totally back it. I think that's a fantastic way to look at it. And it makes that scene a little bit more palpable for me because he's like, I don't want to
Yeah.
risk a lot. And she's like, no, I'm willing to risk everything. So,
Seeing these two
yeah,
as
that
a
makes,
parent daughter thing, I first off just their acting, right? I mean, like we're
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was trying to tell
I
Squeaks who
mean,
hasn't
say
even given this
less.
really a shot. He watched a little bit of the first episode. He's like, I think I'm done. I'm
I
like,
heard it on
dude,
the Geek Freaks episode this
yeah,
past week. I'm
watch
like,
this,
come
bro.
on, bro. One
You
and done.
gotta.
You got to go to two at least.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping he like once it's all the way out. I hope he watches it. I'll steer him away. I told him like for Miss Marvels, you could just watch the last one. Miss Marvel,
Ouch,
but
hot take.
yeah, I mean it's the truth. This I think these two as a parent and child I think really sold it well, including with Fury and Ben Mendelsohn playing that brotherhood thing too. I think they just were so good at acting it out.
Yeah, exactly. They are. They're fantastic. Also, we finally get the scene from the trailer where Gravik is now Super Skrull
Yeah,
action and going full badass. I mean, they just look. I don't want to say unstoppable because they were getting taken out by regular guns and stuff, but he looks like a badass. The way he
what do you?
crushed that
Yeah,
guy with a Groot arm,
yeah. What do you think
it
about the visuals of his fighting with these abilities?
it looked cool, but it does to me still look a little wonky. And it's
Yeah,
like it's like what you've said a million times, I'm sure. Like stretching powers in live action looks a little weird because we can't do that in real life. And how
yeah,
do you visually represent it? How much density does it need to look like? How much power? How flexible and stretchy are we talking about?
yeah.
And so it looked kind of cool, but it also kind of looked a little off to me. But nothing to complain about. I'm not like shit CGI. This episode sucks. No, I still think it's an awesome episode. But it
Yeah.
just looked for a split second a little like eh.
I will say because it's the Groot ability and it's actually bark that helps. The textured thing helps. I think with like Mr. Fantastic, they need to really make sure his suit's super textured because we see
Right.
already with Luffy in One Piece, like, oh my god, that looks like it's 2000 CGI. It
Really?
looks super bad. But
Oh man.
but I think yeah, I think with the textured Groot look, I think kind of helped a little bit.
Definitely. And the extremist thing coming back looks
Yeah, it's
awesome
cool.
too. Like that's such a cool power. I mean, I'm also like now we already have healing abilities in the MCU. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna have to really make the Wolverine of it all look cool to me, and I know they can because they already have done it in the Fox universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I hope that they breathe some fire from it. Like give me a little
That
bit
I
more.
think
Like
is next. Yeah, we
yeah,
have to
show
get
me
the Human Torch part of it.
totally the full range of the Super Scroll.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because in Iron Man 3 he blew fire out. So I had to like look it up
Yeah.
again. I was like there's more to this, right? Not just healing power because it doesn't feel as cool. And then yeah, there's a part where he's blowing fire. I'm like there it is. We're definitely
Yeah.
getting that at some point.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, Fury fully seems outmatched here. I don't know how he's going to take them down, especially if Talos goes out. I guess he has to combine forces with Gaia and maybe Priscilla again. But this just feels so big for Fury to handle. And
It
we're here
does.
4 episodes in. And I'm like, how is he going to figure out a way to outmatch them? I mean,
Yeah.
he's just so underpowered. Like mentally, maybe he's capable to take them down, but physically, yeah, I don't know. I just hope we see that Fury's been putting on an act. Is he really this worn out, beaten down soldier of the
I
past of
know.
like a bygone era? Like,
His
don't
wife was
let that
calling
be
that out
that.
too, saying like if you just wait a little bit he'll die. And it's
Yeah,
like
and I was like,
that
oh,
sucks.
it does suck. I just hope that even that reaction in that moment when he's spying on them could be genuine, but I also hope that he's playing it up a little bit and he's really
Yeah.
got some secret, juice in the tank left.
What do you think about Samuel Jackson's acting in this series in general?
I'm really liking it. I think I liked it more in the first couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
In the conversation with Rhodey when he met at the restaurant, but it's been a little interesting here and there. We'll say nothing against Samuel L. Jackson. Like I love him. He can do no wrong to me,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'm fully. Let me put it this way, and someone else said it. I can't take credit for this. It felt before like it was Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury, where
Yeah.
some parts of this series it feels like Nick Fury is playing Samuel L. Jackson.
Fantastic. Well said.
Right, and I, again, can't take credit for it, but it does feel like that a little bit. You're like, wait, is this supposed to be the same guy we saw in Avengers and then
Right.
in The Winter Soldier? Like, it feels a little bit too much of a drastic change for me sometimes.
Which I think was kind of the selling point for the show, probably because he has mentioned a few times that he likes how they finally gave Nick Fury front and center on this. So there's
Right.
probably like a selling thing, like, hey, we're gonna make you the star of this. You can be yourself in this, because he definitely gives off Pulp Fiction vibes to me in this.
Yeah.
Which I ain't really
Which
complaining
is
about, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
amazing in Pulp Fiction. Like,
Yeah.
undefeated, the GOAT performance, like, insane,
Exactly.
right? But we're now in the MCU, and he's been this character since 2008. And yes, your character can grow, it can change, but I really hope they kind of fill us in on what happened between the snap and now to make him this, I don't know, just
Cavalier,
out
I think is probably the term I'm thinking of the most, because
of,
like
is
we
it?
even see
Yeah.
when they shoot back at the 2012 conversation with his wife, he's still reserved. He's still like, he's not even telling her like, yeah, I got the Avengers together. He's like, somebody did. Like he's still
Yeah.
hiding his cards a little bit more. But then
Yeah,
I
holding
think
him close
about
to his chest.
right, and I don't remember which exact movie it was, but we see that he's in space and he's like kind of just chilling there on a beach scene in space.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes, there it is. Yeah, because that's when we find Talos was on. Okay, so when we see him there, we're like, that already is a very different visual than the pre-snap version of him. So there
Right.
is kind of precedent for this idea that like Nick's been loosening up a lot lately. So I'm kind of leaning heavily on that very small scene of his to show this
Right, that's-
transition.
You're right. That's true. I didn't count that or didn't think about that, but you're right. That was like a little breadcrumb of like, hey, he's not the same Fury, but I guess we have to
Yeah.
expand on our imagination from there. Hopefully not. Hopefully they show us it as well.
I would like that. Or you know what would be really good actually if Marvel needs to work on this more. There should be a comic book series that follows Nick post snap. So we could see that's where you could really flush out a character. Like Negan, by the
Yes.
way, Walking Dead, like Negan has his own storyline now, and I keep suggesting it to people because I'm like, holy shit, it makes the show so much better when
Yeah.
you read that comic book now.
Right on. Okay, I didn't know that. And I agree with you. And even more why I agree with Aman Vellani that the MCU needs its own designation. It cannot be 616.
Yeah.
I think the comics should be 616. But even more so, if they had a comic that followed the MCU and filled us in on backstory, which I would fully buy, Marvel, get on that.
Of course, same.
You would also get a little bit of this understanding going into something. And even if you wanted to release those comics post the movie, post the show, that would be just as good because now you're getting these stories filled in these gaps between the movies and shows. Oh my god, that's like
It
a
would
great
be.
idea.
It's such a slam dunk too, because that's how you get people into the comic book world, which is something you definitely need to do. It's your backbone, and you can literally
Yeah.
call it. Like I remember, I went out when Rebirth came out and was just buying everything with that Rebirth on top of it. Man, I was buying all of them. Like I'll try out Flash for the first time. What the hell or whatever. Actually, I did really get into Flash in that phase.
You were like a new baby because you were getting all rebirthed.
Right. Yeah. So I'll Rebirth left and right. But if you were to like literally throw a tag on top like MCU, like Planet MCU or some shit like that, whatever, but make it very clear to the layman who walks into a comic book shop for the very first time that this is Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr. That's who you're actually reading as. Like that's vital.
Oh man,
And it's
that'd be so
canon to
cool.
the MCU. That's important.
Right. Oh my god. Yeah, I want that so much now. It makes sense. Total slam dunk. And we're getting more. Like, I want to know what happened between the original Avengers and Age of Ultron. Like,
Yep.
give me one other Avengers mission.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
How about Talos and his wife barely keeping shit together while Fury's off planet?
Yeah.
Like
or
doing patchwork Fury work. Yeah.
totally. Or what happened after Talos and Captain Marvel went off and they're like, we can't find any planets. Like,
Yeah.
how did that go? Yes. Oh my God, this is such a good idea. I wish that they would make this already.
Who do we
I
need
don't
to
want to get
add
myself.
on Threads? The tagged for Threads.
Yes, yes. Follow us on Threads.
I promise
We're
it'll be up by
active.
the time this episode goes up.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Yeah, we've been working on that behind the wings, so let's make that happen.
Yeah, I'll finish that.
How did you feel about the Rhodey reveal? Him being a Skrull.
I mean,
Or her alien,
I
almost like
can't
her.
imagine a person who was like, "What?" Like everybody saw it coming.
Sure.
I think the surprise is that it's a woman. That was interesting. So then right away I'm like,
Right.
Empress? But that's just because I'm desperate to find the Empress scroll so much.
Right.
I think it's pretty obvious. I think we need to know now, where is real Rhodey? When did the switch happen? And how much has Rhodey been involved in the Avengers as a scroll?
Yes. I second you on all those questions. We definitely need to know when the switch happened. I mean, I hope they kind of do the meta thing where it went from Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle.
Yes.
That'd be super cool. But more so, Fury knew he was a Skrull at that point. He brings out a super expensive bottle of Perry Van Winkle or Pappy Van Winkle, which one day that's like on my bucket list drinks. Like, I gotta try some of that.
I'm going to share a glass with you when one of us
it?
can afford that. No, I'm saying when one of us can afford it.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
please.
on. I was like, damn, dude.
I'd
Okay,
be
come
sipping
on,
that shit
sponsors.
right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
come on, sponsors, come through. We want to drink Pappy Van Winkle.
Yeah.
But the way he was acting so savage to Fury, I'm like, and Fury just kind of took it, even knowing he's a Skrull. I was like, really? Was
Yeah.
the setup alone that he made him smell like alcohol to the president, or do you think
That
there
would
was
be
something?
so silly.
Do you think there was something deeper there that wasn't quite filled in yet?
Oh, it was just the tracking device, I think. I don't think there was any other reason for it.
Oh, there's a tracking device. Completely missed it.
Oh, yeah. Talos was like, oh, liquid. Like, as soon as he got back into the truck, he's like, liquid tracker. Interesting. And then it was like, okay, so they were tracking. That's why when they fought the president, all of a sudden here comes the SUV and they came in to help him out because they were tracking the whole time.
Got it. That makes total sense. I think it's nice probably for Don Cheadle to be able to play a different kind of Rhodey.
Yeah,
Somebody who's just kind of an a-hole. Yeah. And, I definitely hated him in this episode, but that's what he's meant to do. And that's how good of an actor Don Cheadle is. Because otherwise, I feel like Don Cheadle can do no wrong in my eyes,
I know, right? Oh my God, what an actor.
Yeah.
I think we have some confirmation the president isn't a Skrull now at this point, because Talos was shot and immediately couldn't hold his human form, which was cool in its own sense. But I mean, the president got real messed up and was stayed a human. So I think that's confirmation that he is a human.
Great point. I think this also opens the door. If he doesn't make it for whatever reason and Thunderbolt Ross is around, then that means a perfect segue for him to come in. Or, the vice president has to step up and then Thunderbolt Ross, Harrison Ford, wins the next presidency and then leads us into Captain America. So, I could see it going either way, but I agree with you. It was kind of interesting that he wasn't a Skrull.
I think after this, so we saw that I really appreciated, actually, as a viewer, the fact that, boom, Secret Service saw Talos is turning into an alien. He's ready to, boom, I'm going to shoot this guy. And Nick Fury's like, no, he's with us. And almost immediately he's like, gotcha, we're on the same side. It was like, oh, that's so nice that it's just kind of a moment where there's not like xenophobia immediately kicking in and just, it was just kind of nice. Every so often we need that, show we can be accepting, please.
Oh, totally. I loved it too. It was like taking a page out of Star Trek. Huh? Hey. But I did like that a lot, and I thought it was just a very nice way to do it. And then Talos is laying there though because Gravik got him, stabs him, and then he's just there on the ground.
I wanted to come pick him up and bring him. Like, no, you deserve to go, with your brother.
Yeah, I just don't know how this show's gonna be for me if Talos is out. I love Ben Mendelsohn. I love Ben Mendelsohn in this role. I love the rapport between him and Fury. He doesn't need to die. Don't do this to us, Marvel.
I have the longest long shot idea. Hear me out.
Okay.
So we're seeing that they have like all these humans like of a thing, right? And even we saw through the wife specifically had a very long conversation about this, about how they get their human form. It's the Autobot situation, right? They have to see something and become that thing, is how these scrolls are working. So Ben Mendelsohn copied somebody. And what if he copied, I don't know, a Victor Von Doom? I'm just throwing it out there.
Wow, that would be great. I mean, on that point too, he was a Shield agent in Captain Marvel, so he's some type of high up official, the real guy,
Right.
whatever his name was.
That's a very good
So
point. Shit,
that'd
I
be
forgot all
cool.
about that part. I forgot all about that.
I would like
Well,
I like where your brain's going,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I
dang
feel
it.
like we posted this online. You know, we posted a clip from Challenge Accepted, but then I think I said Secret Invasion to the Marvels to Captain America: Brave New
Yeah.
World to Thunderbolt, and I do believe that's the path even more that it's going down. Right,
Yeah.
I'm expecting to see Emilia Clarke in the Marvels now, like even for one scene. I
Even for a
think
little
she.
bit, I think she's going to become a bigger part of the MCU, and she might be in charge, like Shield, like Fury is, of the cosmic side of the MCU. And right now with Adam Warlock, and there's so many different things that we have available over there, it's the right time for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think she goes on for sure. Olivia Colman has not been used nearly enough for her stature of an actor. So I think I'm thinking she's the Empress.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Remember,
she is. Hell
like
yeah.
yeah, like I think that's gonna be the big twist. Of course, she knows about the scrolls. Of course, she's not tripping out after she cuts off some dude's finger and it turns green. You know, I'm just waiting for her to have a bigger role in the show, and I think from there it leads something down the line in the movies. Because
Yes.
eventually we have to have the Skrulls meet the Fantastic Four, whether it was in the past or it connects to whatever is going to happen in the story for the
Oh
future.
man, what if? Okay, so we know that the Fantastic Four is going to be inspired by Star Trek. That we learned that. We also have a big leaning on the idea that they've been here the entire time. Like Fantastic Four is actually in the '60s when we're watching their movies. Like that's been hinted to already.
It's been
That
hinted to, but we don't know for
yeah.
sure.
What if they've been fighting the Skrulls this entire time as like this covert kind of thing that echoes the Cold War? So that there's been this whole like covert op, spy versus spy thing between aliens and the Fantastic Four this whole time.
That'd be awesome.
I know.
Yeah,
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, but it would have to they would have to explain why it's all been scratched from the record. Like why Fury's never
Yeah.
mentioned it, why Shield never talked about it, why Sword never talked about it. I mean, they'd have to have a really compelling reason, I
Yeah.
think, for me to wrap my head around it. But I'm not mad at it. I know that they've talked about a different timeline, a different universe situation for the Fantastic Four. And I'm about it.
I kind of want there to be more because that's the other thing too is we're not using a lot of the other super groups or big groups that are in the it's not Hive. What's the one that's always wears yellow suits in Marvel that are always like science bad guys?
AIM.
AIM. Why is
Advanced
AIM
Idea
not a bigger
Mechanics.
deal? Yeah, I
Yeah.
like AIM a lot just because they're like science forward bad guys, while like Hydra's guns and spy forward bad
Right.
guys.
Don't get me started on Iron Man 3. I know some people are like best Iron Man. I don't see
That's
how that was the best Iron Man.
Well, I think it's
but
the best Tony Stark in my opinion.
best
I'm a
true.
huge Iron Man 3 fan actually.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
enough. Like
The future challenge right there.
there you go. I mean, I like Iron Man in the suit, and I'm such a sucker for that.
Yeah.
But AIM was the bad guy in it. It sort
Yeah.
of, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They've
yeah.
touched on
It
it. I don't
sucked.
think that was the thing. That I didn't feel like they did a great job with it, but that is where we get the extremists of it all. I
Yeah.
think. Man, I wish that we could get like a more comic accurate AIM, because that'd be so
Same.
fun. Just aimless guys to beat up.
Have
Give
you
me all the
watched
goons.
the MODOK series on Hulu?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I love that AIM. I love that AIM so much.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
just
such a Venture
silly.
Brothers AIM.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking of like Robot Chicken AIM.
Yeah.
Like totally silly, ridiculous. But
Oh man.
yeah. So overall, I don't know. What are your thoughts of this episode?
Too short but fantastic. And I mean, pour one out for Talos. Really.
Yeah, definitely.
think?
But then again, we had Gaia go down the episode before, and she's back. So
This
Yeah.
one feels more permanent to me. I don't know.
gosh, yeah, because he turned green, right? If they turn green, it's like you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see. Let me think. Predictions. No, first, this episode, I really liked it. I did not mind the pacing at all of it, even though it was slow and intimate. I liked understanding why Fury would have a wife and how much, as we all know, if you have a secret identity, you're a spy, any type of loved ones attached to you, they're always going to be in danger. And that in itself can be a weakness. For Superman, having Lois can be the weakness.
Yeah.
And
You see it with Spider-Man and Batman as well. Yeah, same thing.
exactly, right. And Fury even admits like this was a weakness, but you know what? I don't think I would have changed it. And I think for anybody who's had a long relationship or marriage, you can kind of attest to that. You're like, yeah, there's hard times, but I wouldn't change those hard times for all the good times we've had.
Exactly.
So I love that aspect of it. And then seeing more Talos and Gaia together, love it. Hope that's not the end in this episode. And then Gravik is coming in like a savage. Oh, last thing I will say about that. They came in speaking Russian when they dropped out of the helicopters, and then
smart.
immediately went to English when they started talking to each other.
But I think they were speaking Russian over the comms, right?
Yes,
the whole point.
that's true. But English in the field, if any of those people survive, they're like, those dudes were speaking English. Yeah. So it was like a little, I mean, I kind of understand it for how that scene was going because it was fast paced, but I was also kind of like Russian the whole time if you want to fake being Russian.
I think this is the greatest failure of Gravik to this point. Not only did he kill a martyr for the Skrulls, but he botched this so bad that now the U.S. military is fully aware that Skrulls are attacking, and I don't think anybody's going to fall for it. So I think this was his biggest failure yet.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. I like that look at it because maybe this shows him or shows the council like he is such a hothead that he'll try to make something happen and then it won't work.
Just killed one of their former members. I mean, Talos was a member of the council.
Totally, and highly respected, it seemed like, even though he didn't make the home thing work. But in the High Council, he's the guy. Yeah. So I like that idea, that he kind of screwed himself in a way.
Yeah. Guys, if you have, I mean, I don't think you're listening to this and not watching the show, but if you know somebody who hasn't given the show a chance or whatever, I think this is the time to get them on because we only have 2 more weeks to go. This has been it's probably tied for 1 or 2 for me of all the Marvel shows so far. It's that good in my opinion. Yeah, I think I think it beats out Winter Soldier now at this point, or Falcon. Yeah, I think it's just out there.
For you, okay, I got it. I appreciate that. For you, for me, no, but for you, that's awesome. Yeah,
I'm just blown away by these performances and this like level of intrigue. Like, God, it's got me so good. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I will say it's in the top 5. I mean, I was a sucker for WandaVision. I love the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, to me,
it's Loki and WandaVision that are like, it probably ties with those.
Really, yeah. And I liked Loki a lot. Like, not as much as the internet seemed to, but this is definitely in the top 5. And man, the performances they're putting on an acting masterclass. True. Definitely recommend it. Yeah. Watch it. Guys, get into it.
Let us know on all our social medias what you guys think of this episode and where you think we're going from here. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Aloha.